Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Wisdom Circle. I'm here with the gals. Yay! Another first Monday. Can you believe it's September already?
Yeah.
Time is
Insane, isn't
flying.
it? Time is flying. So let me just say the opening statement for those that are new here. We are the Wisdom Circle, and there's normally six of us, but today we're short. Heather, who's just buying her a new house, and our friend Terri, pure visionary, who is out riding a mule today somewhere, somehow. We got to find out more about that, ladies. But my name's Priscilla, and I'm here with Terri Suzuki, SunPsychic Jean, and Wisdom Seeker Joan, and we all get together once a month to discuss awakening, awareness, and ascensions. Our goal is to share, support, and validate each other, as well as others, as we're following a spiritual path. We're here to share and discuss spiritually related theories, experiences, information, and perspectives from diverse backgrounds and points of view. We hope to make you laugh, to feel included, and maybe gain some insight or perspective on whatever is happening to you on your spiritual journey. Our individual paths are unique. No two of us are the same. So please take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. Everybody's information is in the description of this video. So if you'd like to get hold of any of these excellent readers that are here today with me, please check out their channels. Today, we're going to talk about clairalience, the sense of smell, and Terri Suzuki is going to be our presenter. So, welcome, Terri, and I'm excited about this.
Well, I'm glad you are. Well, I thought I'd start by just talking a little bit about the clairs. Um, as I was researching more about clairalience, I found out that there's a little bit more to all of this than I thought. So, in general, in our human bodies, we have five senses, but in woo-woo land, I've always been told we have eight senses, and they're called the clairs. And in general, that seems to be true. But as I dug down and tried to do a little bit more research about this particular clair, I found that there's probably more, or that of these eight, there's maybe many layers to them, and that maybe could even be called other senses. So it was really, really cool. So clairalience is clear smelling. It is there are two of the eight that are really, really rare. Clairalience is pretty rare, and claragustance, which is clear tasting, is also very rare. I would say of the rarest, claragustance is the rarest. Um, so for me, and a lot of people that are psychic mediums, we often have one or two go-to clairs, our dependable strengths. And for me, my dependable strength is clairvoyance and claircognizance. My third one is clairalience. So I have clear smelling, and it has been around a very, very long time for me, all my life. And sometimes when I was a kid, I'd be like, why am I smelling that? I mean, who does anyone else smell that? Nobody else would smell that. And it has always been kind of part of me. So I'm going to put up some slides so we can talk about this. Oops, got to go back. So clairalience, clear smell, one of the eight clairs. And I just found this wonderful picture of somebody on our side smelling somebody on the other side. So here is the couple definitions that I got of clairalience. That it's the ability to acquire psychic knowledge by means of smelling. And it's sensing scents, aromas, or fragrances that are not connected to the physical world, the normal physical world. And it is a form of extrasensory perception as well. So for me, when I do smell things, the actual, like if I smelled pancakes, nobody around me is making pancakes. The neighbors aren't cooking pancakes. Nobody, there's no, it's actually a spiritual smell that I'm smelling for some reason. Um, so clairalience is associated with spiritual presence. And it can be the spiritual presence of spiritual beings, our departed loved ones. It can be memories, it can be future events or past events that they are trying to bring, the other side is trying to bring forward into your knowledge. Um, so people with this gift often claim to receive olfactory sensations related to either specific people, places, events, or energies without any physical source for those scents. So for me, and this is just me, I smell people. So when I have this spiritual smell, I'm usually smelling a person, usually on the other side. Um, I also like to let people know that all of the clairs uh, have usually two different presentations. They so any clair can present what I call the outside or the inside. So for my clairvoyance, most of the time is inside. I'm seeing these images in my head. The spirit's putting them in my head to watch. If you see clairvoyance on the outside, you're looking at ghosts and stuff, you know. So all of these are inside outside. And so far my experience with clairalience is it seems to be a both one where it purports to be outside because you're physically smelling something. You know, it doesn't feel like it's inside, it feels like it's outside, but indeed it is inside. You're the only one smelling it. So um, one of the ways to kind of figure out is what you're smelling clairalience, or is it just a smell? So a lot of times they're out of sync with the physical environment. So, like I said, I'm smelling pancakes, but there are no pancakes being cooked. They often are perceived only by you. And I also noted, though, that there can be mass clairalience. That has happened in uh, some of the stories I've heard when I was in the Catholic religion, that sometimes people are overwhelmed by Mother Mary and they all smell a certain smell at the same time. Uh, I have not done that, but I've heard it can be done. And also, this smell connects to meaning or memory. There's some uh, connection to this smell. It will bring something extra to you to understand. And so that's part of the, you need to then try to figure out what it is. And so these smells can represent links to a family or a friend or family member in the 3D or on the other side. Um, it can also let you know that a holy or spiritual presence is with you. It can be about past events. It can be a memory. And I thought that this was real. Oops, sorry.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you go back to that first that slide there?
Yeah.
Um, what would a holy or spiritual presence smell like?
Well, for me, the the times I've actually smelled one, they actually smelled a lot like the incense of the Catholic Church that I grew up in.
Interesting.
Like I'm
Okay,
at
that makes
home.
sense.
Yeah, I'm at home. There's no way I'm going to be smelling frankincense and myrrh, and suddenly I'm smelling frankincense and myrrh.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then
Cool.
I'm like, okay, there's somebody here, and this person is not somebody I know. It's not like a someone I know that's passed on. So I know
Hmm.
this is something bigger.
And
Right.
and don't people who say they of the presence of Mother Mary, they smell roses often?
I have heard that
Yeah.
too. Often when she's present, they smell roses. Um, and I believe in it's really way back in my memory, but I do remember like a mass, like Mother Mary was somewhere, and it was like a mat. Everybody in the crowd smelled roses at the same time.
Oh,
Cool.
cool.
Yeah. So so that yeah. Um, but just because that's how I smell a holy or spiritual presence doesn't mean that's how you will. You that's the problem with this one is you also have to diagnose it yourself too to figure
Hmm.
what does this mean?
Yeah, because Roses is my sister. It,
Oh,
yeah.
that is lovely. So from the Medium website, I just happened to find this. I kind of liked what they said. People with clairalience may experience a wide range of scents, from pleasant and familiar odors to obscure or symbolic smells. Interpreting these olfactory experiences can be challenging. They often require the individual to rely on their intuition and psychic faculties to discern the meaning behind these scents. So that's how that this can be pretty challenging to figure out what those are. Um, I thought then we could have a little bit of a discussion about this, and I was going to tell you that. So I've already told you a little bit that when I smell these smells, for me they're people. So like if I smell pancakes, and I'm sorry I'm talking about pancakes a lot, but that's my dad. My dad
I'm grumbling from the pancakes. I'm like, oh, wow, pancakes, yum.
My dad loved cooking pancakes on every Saturday. I don't like pancakes, but but he insisted on cooking them. And so now when he shows up or he's around, I smell pancakes and I know it's him. And so I'm able to just say, "Hi, Dad. I'm so glad you're here." Sometimes he's not going to talk to me or say anything. He just wants me to know he's checking in.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so a lot of the people on the other side in my life already have scents that I know, like lilacs represents my maternal great grandmother, but violets represents her daughter, my maternal grandmother. And if I smell any horsey scent, it's my paternal grandmother.
I love horses.
That was my horse grandma.
For horse lovers, there's nothing better than the horsey scent.
Oh,
There's nothing better than the smell of a barn. It's not the same as a dairy barn. It's totally
yes,
different. But for
yes,
people that love horses, we love the smell of barns,
yeah.
don't we?
I
Hay.
loved it when I used to work at a horse therapy nonprofit where they were giving therapy to people on horseback. When I was feeling bad at work, I would have to go out to the tack barn, and whatever horse was being tacked up, you just part their mane over just a little bit and smell right under, just glue my nose to their neck under the mane, and then you get that, oh, that wonderful scent.
Oh my
SunPsychic Jean's
gosh.
looking at us like, what?
No, that sounds awesome. That's so beautiful. It's like baby's breath, right?
With the
Well,
top
we
Mhm.
have
of
a
your head.
lot of
Puppy breath.
we have a
Yeah.
lot we have a lot of experiencers in the chat. May I go through and
Yes,
share some of them?
please.
Well, Mangled Unicorn says, my grandma is going through renal failure and had a reading with one of our community. Her higher self told the reader to tell me when I smell her sugar cookies, I know she's around.
That.
Wow. Sugar
Wow.
cookies.
Ooh, yum.
And she also said Clairalience is a breaker of the smelled it, you dealt it rule.
That is true.
And she says that's a new good username, spiritual pancakes.
Spangled unicorn, you're hilarious.
You are.
And Tanya C says, I've smelled my brother's favorite cologne. He's been gone for 26 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Hypnicity says, I can smell my mom sometimes. When I was in my dad's Swiss hometown, I smelled my uncle's pipe tobacco. He crossed many years earlier. Mhm.
Yes.
Cool.
And it's not very common, you guys. So you guys are great here. Yes, the
Mhm.
smell of roses or lilies when Mother Mary is around, yet there are no flowers anywhere in sight, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That is how it happens.
Mangled Unicorn said, then they cut through the BS and get to the primal feelings. When we have smell, goes to the primal feelings. I thought that was really important to mention. I think that's so true. So visceral. And it also goes back lifetimes, you know?
Yes.
She said that they used to pump the smell of popcorn in movie theaters to encourage the purchase. Now you tell me, right? Could not resist. Rossi, hi Rossi. I've smelt the ozone. It
Mhm.
roses. Oh
And
my
roses.
gosh. That's amazing. Wow. And my grandma always comes through with honeysuckle and Carolyn Adams. I think
Oh,
you guys are spiritually connected because you said the same thing.
wow.
Terry, who did you say you had with honeysuckle?
No, I said violets and lilacs.
Oh, okay.
I don't have anybody assigned to honeysuckle yet.
Okay. And then Harley says, when I have sensed Mother Mary or other saints like Saint Joseph, Teresa, Child of Jesus, the scent of roses and lilies come. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then Rush is saying, yes, Harley, roses for Mother Mary for her too.
Oh, that is lovely. I'm so glad that Mother Mary gets around a lot. So that we're all
Harley,
I don't know what's with the technical difficulties. We have solar flare, CME hitting us today, don't we?
There you
No
go.
wonder we're having problems.
So, and then Harley says the smell of cigars or cigarettes from people who smoked while they were here. Yep, that is common. And Christine says lilacs for her maternal grandmother.
Yes.
I don't know what a lilac smells like.
Oh,
We don't
heaven.
have them in our part of the country.
You have to
Easter
come visit
flower?
next May.
Oh, they smell so good.
They're very
bet.
pungent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I so wish I had this ability. I don't, but when Spirit wants me to send me a scent, they have to send me pictures or a memory. So I remember sometimes I'll get the image of walking. This one time I was on a business trip and went from cold, frozen Minnesota in the middle of winter to somewhere on the coast in California and walked into the hotel, and they just changed over all of the flowers, and it smelled like a greenhouse. And then other times they'll just give me the memory of being in a greenhouse for those types of things. But it would be so much easier to just get the scent.
Yeah. Well, what I like is, like Richleen said, I smell my Aunt Jo in the Glade spray after she passed away in her apartment.
Wow.
That kind of thing happens. And while it's nice that I suddenly smell family around, uh, it is much more rarer to encounter this in a reading with others. But
Ooh.
I have actually done that before. So there have been times I've been in readings where suddenly I'm smelling somebody smoking. And Jean, I think this happened to you in a reading. I was with you when that happened in a reading where you started to smell cigarette or pipe smoke, and it turned out that they smoked. And so a lot of times if I encounter this in a reading, then I'll say, who do you know on the other side who smoked a pipe? or if it's whatever smell it is, who on the other side would remind you of violets or lilacs or something,
Mhm.
I know who they know, because it's obviously that I
Yeah.
don't know these people, but and I have had that happen when somebody died of like emphysema or smoking. I smelled cigarettes and knew that that was so. But that's happening more and more, but it is still quite rare for me. Um,
What's the most unusual smell you smelled? Or one of the most unusual?
well, I don't. I can't really remember an unusual smell.
Hmm.
There have been times where I've been somewhere and suddenly I smell the worst smell, just like death warmed over, but there's nothing, there's no garbage nearby, there's no nothing nearby. And it's something that I didn't necessarily want to dive into and find out what it was, but I think it was spiritual. I think maybe something happened there that was not
Oh,
good.
yeah.
But I will tell you one of my most unusual ones that I smelled. So one night I was sleeping and it was kind of early morning, and I was sleeping on my left side. I'm a side sleeper. And I was in a dream working somewhere. I don't know where I was. And suddenly I smelled smoke, really strong smoke, like my house was
That'd
burning
be
down or
scary.
something. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, oh, I better check on that. That's really strong. And so I turned over to get out of my bed, and then I didn't smell it anymore. And I'm like, well, that's really weird. And so I turned back over, and it was still, the smell was still there.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, I still got to check on this because this is very strong. And got out of bed, went to the top of the stairs to see if the whole house was on fire. And it was not. And I went back to bed and laid in the same spot, and it was still there.
Wow.
Wow.
It had not dissipated. And so I just sat there and just tried to kind of go back into the dream. And I think that I brought the scent back with me from wherever I was
Mhm.
working on something. And then
Wow.
it finally dissipated, but it took quite a long time.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Interesting.
So-
Jean, you had your hand up.
Well, I was just, yeah, I'm good. I have, Priscilla, did you want to go through yours and then we'll do a couple more from the chat and then I'll do mine?
Sure. The biggest one for me is my father was a smoker and a coffee drinker. Like all day long, he had this little white cup. He always had black coffee in after breakfast. He smelled like cigarettes and coffee. And that was very much a comfort smell for me because I got along with my dad. I adored my father. And when I moved to England, I met my husband, David. He smelled like cigarettes and coffee. Very weird. And he smoked and he drank coffee, but it wasn't him that I was smelling. It was my father's smell. And after we dated for about, I'd say after about 3 months, that smell went away, and it was David's smell. But when I first met him, I felt like it was a sign from my dad, who's one of my guides. That, of course, I didn't know he was a guide at that point. Uh, but I felt like it was the universe saying, this guy's safe, this is where you need to be. And after David and I were married and he was a psychic medium, we found out that my father and his mother were on the other side promoting our relationship.
I believe it. They do.
Yeah. Yeah, they were making sure that we got together. And what was really strange is David's wife had died only about 5 months before I'd met him. But they told us she had to die for us to meet, which is a little strange, but just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So that was the biggest one for me, and that was long before I woke up to any the spiritual gifts that I had. But another one is my sister smells like roses. She loved roses, and when I used to make lotions and potions, I would always make hers with essential oil of rose because it is the highest vibration of all the essential oils. It's really very high vibrational, and I would pack them off and send it, body scrubs, anything that she wanted, I made with that essential oil. So after she passed, roses. I knew she was around with roses, and that was all. She died right before. She died just a month after my husband, and there was a lot of smelling going on that year. The next year till I woke up to my gifts. So that was pretty interesting because that was one of my first clairs.
Wow.
But it
Cool.
doesn't happen a lot. Go
That's
ahead.
interesting. Well, maybe you didn't realize. Maybe you said, "Oh, that smell. Do you smell that? It reminds me of my sister." But you didn't realize that's actually a visitation. Like, did
Right.
you realize, or did you think it might have been her coming? Like, did you
Yeah,
realize?
because by that point, although I hadn't come into my Claire's yet, my husband was a very strong psychic medium. So I was used to dealing with smells and tricks that the other side would play on David when they would give him information. A lot of times he'd go, "What do you think this means?" Because he was English. So a lot of times he would get messages that were American from my family and friends that had passed, and he wouldn't understand them. And a lot of times I didn't understand his because they were English.
Cool.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They know. They know. Okay, let's take a couple more from the chat. Laura Adescott says, "I smell my dad's leather jackets." Oh my gosh, that really resonates with me because they do
Yeah.
have a strong and particular smell. And
Yeah.
Coffee Dog says, "I don't get scents, I get feelings," which is fine. And that's why we're talking about it today. And Joan also says that she doesn't get clairalience. And it's not that she never will, it's just not one of her stronger ones. And it may
Mhm.
not be yours, Coffee Dog, but you get the feeling. And maybe it's a feeling of a scent. I don't know what you meant, but maybe you just meant you don't really smell anything. And there's no right or wrong. It just depends on which ones are stronger for us all. Hypnicity says sawdust is
Love
the
that.
smell of my grandpa. He was a master builder, like a woodworker, right?
That's
That's
cool.
so cool.
I can smell it now. And Wistlice Lightkeeper says, "I've smelled pipe tobacco when Sul Choi Lighthouse outside, a former lightkeeper. The captain is said to visit the light. And
Oh, that's
he
cool.
used to smoke a pipe."
Cool.
Very.
Ooh, that is so cool. Yeah, that's neat. And Nancy Smith says for her father, her daddy smoked his brand of cigarettes and rubbing alcohol. Very distinctive scent. Both my sister and I have smelled his scent. He passed in 1989. Rubbing alcohol. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's distinctive.
And Richleen says, not a smell, but her pappy drops pennies that he needs to send dollar bills. Pennies are most of the time heads up. Yeah. But the pennies have a smell, that copper
That
smell,
copper smell.
Mhm.
that coin smell to it.
Yeah.
Hypnicity said her sister, who struggles with mental illness, says she can smell cancer. I believe her. I believe her too.
Yeah.
Dogs can smell it, they can sense it. And I know somebody else who puts their nose in somebody's mouth and they can smell if they have a cavity. Do you know who that is, ladies? I
Yeah.
don't know if it's somebody that you know of or it's somebody from one of my classes, but they say, open your mouth. They can smell in your mouth and tell you if you have a cavity.
Wow.
Wow.
I could smell when my husband was getting a lung infection, and he'd go to the doctor and, he'd say, "I don't smell anything," and nobody else smelled anything. But then they'd do the test and it would come back and they'd say, "Oh, she's right. After this, just listen, after that happened several times, the doctor just said, just start taking this when your wife smells that infection
Oh,
smell.
see, you do have clairalience.
Well, I think I was just picking up on that infection because I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe that's what I was picking up on. But it's just horrible smell.
Interesting.
Go to the
Yeah.
doctor. You've got an infection.
There is that.
When I was researching this, some of the people who are talking about clairalience says that it seems in what they've learned that people who have a very keen sense of smell often get this as one of the gifts. And I would have to say that when I was younger, I had a very, very keen sense of smell. I do not have such a keen sense of smell now, and I think it's because in my working life, when I was a hairdresser, I used so many chemicals that I feel like I don't have as keen
Burnt your
smell
nose out.
now. Yeah, but it still happens through spirit. So,
Huh.
did you see? Somebody said something real. Oh, Andrea at 1:30.
Yep, she said when father died, I went to Texas to clean his body. On the way back on the train, I smell his cologne all the way back to Chicago.
Wow.
That's
So beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that gives me chills. And he's confirming that. And Rush says she smells chlorine like in a swimming pool because her best friend from high school used to be a lifeguard back then. And whenever she smells chlorine, she knows it's her best friend.
That's cool.
So
I'm telling you guys, there's just because our faces are up here doesn't mean anybody has anything more or less. We're all the same. We're all one together. And it's so lovely to know that all of you have such unique skills and abilities and awarenesses, and that you come here to join us together. It's so much fun. So if somebody else wants to keep an eye on the chat in case more people want to let us know what their experiences are, I wanted to tell you about a couple of my experiences. And as Terry was saying about that foul smell, it reminded me of when I used to work in my office at my last job, and there was this big round like pillar that was part of the office. Like we had to build the office around it, how they section off the offices. And I would get this like somebody didn't flush the toilet smell, like really, or it was my boss in the next room letting a couple loose. I couldn't figure it out. So one time my boss was in my room, like telling me, what to expect or what he needs and whatever, telling me something. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, do you smell that? And he goes, smell what? I said, it's that sewage from this big pipe that's right next to me. I can smell the sewage right out of it. And he knew I had like a sensitive smell. And he goes, that is not a sewage pipe. That is a solid cement pillar that holds the building up. That pillar, and I thought it held like all the pipes and stuff, but it's solid cement. It is one of the pillars that hold the building up. And he goes, and then it's me, and it's almost like what is it called? A cantilever or something.
Yeah.
My office and my boss's office was like, so the pillar was on one side, and then my office, and then my boss's office, and it overlooked like a tree topped. And so there was no sewage around, but man, I could smell it. But anyway, so I didn't know what that was, but it really freaked me out because like, I had smelled it for years. And then it was only when I mentioned it to him and he's like, he looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, that's a solid cement pillar. I was like, oh. But anyway, so I realized maybe it was something like a spirit coming to visit me. I didn't realize it. And the other time is when I had a ghost in my house. And one of the first indications was I could smell the smell of beer. And when I say the smell of beer, I mean the smell of beer when somebody burps and you can still smell it. I know. And one time it was like sort of in like a pocket. And I pulled my husband. I was dating my husband at that time. And I pulled him and I said, can you smell that? And he goes, what? I said, just smell. And he goes, what? I said, what does it smell like? He's like, I don't know. I said, does it smell like beer? He goes, yeah, it does. It smells like beer. I said, that's the ghost. And he was like, what? Like, I don't know. I didn't know that. Like, I don't know. He goes, it could be anything. It could be from outside. I'm like, I am telling you that's the ghost. But anyway, that comes from way back. And that's the beer smell. And that was way early on in my development. Another time we were here in this house. So it was after we got married, after we moved here, we were in the basement. My husband has a big screen TV down there, and we were watching a movie. And then all of a sudden I smelled this smell, and I can't tell what kind of cologne it was. It was just a man's cologne, and it was like overpowering, And for some reason, like, I don't know how I knew. I just said to my husband, I said, did your dad wear a lot of cologne? And he's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, because he's here. And, I didn't know why I knew it was his dad. I don't know how I knew that. But his father passed when he was 16 years old. I never met him. So I didn't know him. And for him to come when we were together and quiet and watching a movie, and to have that scent come over, it was a lovely visitation, because my husband doesn't ever ask me for readings. And I love it when like little things like that happen for him, to reassure him,
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And then this morning when I was waking up, I smelled smoke. Now, truth be told, I can't tell if it was coming from outside, which I thought it was coming from outside. But now that we're doing this show, I'm like, of course it was spirit. I don't know that for sure, but it's hard to tell sometimes, because you're like, I know I'm smelling something. Where is it coming from? But you don't know. But then when you smell it again and again and again, you're like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the smoke is distressing.
Yes.
Like when I smelled that smoke, I
Smoke is
had
not something we want to smell first thing in the morning.
Right.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's wild.
Well, Jean, I'm going to have to say that your ghost story had so many things you learned from that ghost story. That was amazing. And if anyone ever wants to hear the whole ghost story, I know you have it on your channel, don't you?
I do. I think I don't know if I ever did the entire one, but it's funny. I'll tell you guys later. Well, I'll tell you real quick. I'm going to do 2 Zoom ghost stories in October to get ready for Halloween, and it's
Uh-huh.
going to be on 2 different days, and it's going to be it's free for any members, because they already paid $5, and it's $5 for everybody else. And we're going to swap ghost stories. So I'm going to tell you mine. I'm going to show you films that I've collected and pictures that I've collected. And also you can tell me yours and share your pictures with us. And it'll all be on Zoom. So I'll announce that and put it together for everybody. But
How
it's going to
fun.
be, yep, I think so. And it's everybody has a story. So I think it's really, and it just helps me to pay for the cost of this Zoom, and it's crazy the cost of this StreamYard, you guys wouldn't believe. So it just helps me out a little bit, and it brings us all together. So it'll be lots of fun.
StreamYard's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Surprised. Well, what I also like that's coming out of this conversation and the chat is I hope everybody's getting that the clairs, how we sense and use the clairs, all of us, that it's very individual. We don't all have the same clairs. Usually you can do all of the 8 a little bit. Like for instance, while I have that clairalience, I don't really have clairascensions, which is the feelings. Where's Jean? She gets all the feelings. For me, what they got to do is they got to trick me into feeling. They in a reading they'll show me something that has something to do with the person. Like they want me to know, they want me to talk about a feeling, but I'm not so much that. So like one time I was reading somebody and they put a beautiful ring on my finger, and it was in aquamarine, just about, that's my favorite color of stone. And they're like, what would you feel if this was your ring? And I'm like, oh, I'd feel like this. And they're like, yep, that's how she feels. And I'm like, okay. So they got to trick me to feel, but
They
they
trick
can
me
send,
into seeing, into visual, because
oh,
I don't see. I feel to see.
mm,
That's how I see, is through feelings. And I don't quite know how to explain that, but I don't actually see anything. It's that feeling.
mm-hmm. But
Funny.
I love that. I love that it's all different for us. What I
Hmm.
do like about the Clairalience is it is uh, subtle. I think it's a very non-invasive way to start interacting with your own intuition. And another way to practice whether that you have clairaudience is to do some of the practices we do, and we're working on our psychic senses. So one of them is that I've done before is you try to imagine an orange floating in front of your face. And not everyone can do that, but you try to imagine it, you try to move it around. But one of the ones is try to smell it, try to smell the orange. And if you can smell the orange, if you can bring forth that smell, then you have the ability to do that. You have clairaudience. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget the bell one, Terry, when you called me. And early on, like when we were coming up in our psychic training, we would be hit with certain things, and Terry would be like, there's a bell that keeps going off and I can't find it. I think it's in my head and I think I'm going crazy. I think it's a ghost in my house and it's driving me nuts and I'm scared. I don't know whether to get an exorcist and get, I mean, she was like, what? What's going on? What's going on? It would not stop. This bell, this bell, this bell. And so she asked me, she said, Jean, would you please tune in, find out where the bell is coming from and what it is that they want? And it was like near, oh no, when you would walk past the china closet or something,
Right.
right?
Yeah. But it happened upstairs where there's no china.
Wow.
Yeah. But Jean figured it out. Jean got in there and she found out that they were trying to get my attention to do some automatic writing because it was during a time that I wasn't thinking. And so they were trying to help me understand that during these times when I was just walking to the kitchen to get a drink of water. I wasn't thinking about anything. And then when it happened again, I was just walking in the hallway upstairs. I wasn't thinking about anything. And they just got my attention, and I was able then to ask Jean to figure out what is it, because I may have spirits in my house. you know,
What was it?
it was a big ringing. It was tinging like
No, but what did Jean find out?
oh, that they wanted me to do, when I'm not thinking, to do channeled writing.
Oh.
They were trying to get my attention to think about the fact that that would be a good time to do that. And I was able then to go and do that and practice it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Smart.
I love this. I have to go back here, you guys, and show.
Yes.
Feel to see. Yay! Other people do this too. See, I didn't know other people did it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee dogs and spirit rods. Yes, feel to see. I love it. Thanks for sharing, you guys. I thought I was weird.
And I
Well, I am, but
I see to feel or see to smell. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a reading for someone, and Spirit wanted me to get across the whole idea of the freshness and beauty of spring, of like a new beginning. And so they showed me in my head these flowers, hepaticas, and they're just they grew in the woods behind my house when I was a little girl, and they have the most amazing, delicate scent. But because I couldn't smell, they had to show it to me in my head. And then
wow.
I couldn't remember the name, so I was looking around for this picture. It's these. So it's they just have to use whatever we have
Mhm.
to get the message across.
Look at what Row True Colors said.
I smelled water dew before I sensed orbs. That when I was videoing outside in my backyard, I was visited by so many spirits. Wow. They were the
Wow.
elemental spirits.
Cool.
That's why you smelt the dew.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
cool. Oh my
very
God.
wacky.
Cool.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that is like I tend to think that it would be like repetitive and specific, but it could, like when you're reading for different people, you could still get a scent from your uncle's pipe and then say, "Oh,
Yeah.
is your uncle passed?" Like it's a reminder
Mhm.
of us thinking of our uncle to say, "Oh, is your uncle passed?" Or
Right.
your uncle is here, or a way for us to distinguish who it is that we're contacting. It's also like a helper or an
Right.
assist
Hmm.
sometimes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
It's just another way for spirit to get our attention. I also like what
God
Nancy
knows
Ray
they'll
had to
they'll
say.
have to find unique ways to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they try anything to get us out of our head and
Mm,
to really get the message to us.
yes.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not subtle when you smell stinky feet or body odor. Smelly sneakers, right? That when
Yeah.
there's nothing like that cheesy, it's just most disgusting. When little kids used to run out and get them wet and then come in. Luckily, most of the smells I've experienced were perfume and flowers. Of course,
Yeah.
cigarettes and cigars were unpleasant too. But that stinky feet, oh my gosh. Yep. Hmm.
No
I
stinky feet, thank you.
Donna says, I smell sulfur in the middle of the night as a child.
Oh, how
Wow.
awful.
That was
Isn't that an indicator of a portal change when you smell sulfur? That's when spirits arrive or leave. Does anybody else know that?
No, I
Can
didn't know that.
somebody in the chat confirm that? Or Donna, can you? I know that sulfur smell is an indicator of either an apparition or a visitation, but it's common for like entities or spirits in the room with you. So
mhm.
that was for sure, and it was
Is
probably
sulfur the one that smells like rotten eggs?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sulfur smells like
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn said she's heard that too. I'm not crazy. I've heard that with physical presence.
Oh,
Um,
oh, that's
Thought sulfur
interesting.
was a sign of evil. Well, it's just a physical presence, and then they make it evil. Um, and she thought of ancestors. Yep, it could have been
mhm,
ancestors. I think it's when
could
they
be,
when they pop in through the portal between the realms. It creates
right?
that sulfur smell. Oh, maybe it's ETs. Is it
This is
ETs?
cool.
I don't know.
ETs? I've never
I'm gonna
smelled
look.
sulfur when I've communicated with
Mm-mm.
ETs.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I'll be
do.
back.
I do know that smell is one of the strongest ways to recall a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Mangled Unicorn is right here that that some therapies use that as a method to kind of rewrite our brain, rewrite
That's
things that we're
wonderful.
thinking. Yeah. Um, I was going to say T. Lynn said that smell can be tied in. She can smell incoming rain, basically. I have always been able to do that all my life. And
Me too. I've always smell rain.
yeah, and it's funny because they have asked people in there was a study that asked people in America, do you smell rain coming or going, or snow? I can smell snow too.
Wow.
And they've asked people in other countries, and they're like, we don't smell rain. We don't smell
How can
snow.
you not smell rain? It's the
I don't
ozone, isn't
know.
it, that we
I don't
smell?
know.
I don't know.
But
Huh.
yeah.
I've always smelled it.
Yeah, I can smell rain too.
Oh,
So who was
I
it
don't know
that said
about
it
snow,
was?
but I didn't grow up around snow, so I'm not sure. I've never been in. I've been on an island for the last 8 years. I don't know about
And
snow.
then coffee dogs, I have to apologize. You are absolutely right. I looked it up. And it
It was
says, let me
the
look, find
smell of
my
the
little
devil is
thing.
what I remember.
It is. It is. But why can't I see mine? Oh, because it was too long. It won't take it. It's cut off, but this is most of it.
Yeah,
It
I've heard
says,
it's associated with, excuse me.
Fire
go
and
ahead.
brimstone, yes.
yeah, references the fire and brimstone, which is sulfur, as symbols of divine judgment and punishment, combined with the observable sulfurous gases released during volcanic eruptions. I mean, that's what it says, but I honestly thought it was also when spirits were present or were coming
Well,
in
think
and out
about
of
this
portals.
reference. It's biblical. They wouldn't want it to be in a positive light. So it wouldn't,
Right.
they wouldn't say anything about it being, they wouldn't want you to know about portals. So yeah,
Okay.
kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
What does that mean, Miss Cindy? Smells is in the oldest part of your brain. The smell of rain is called Richter.
Petrichor.
Practicar. We are hardwired like it because of our need for water.
Oh, that makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I never heard that it's hard. I knew it was something a lot of people could smell, but I didn't ever think it could be hardwired for our need for water.
Yeah,
That's
who would have
amazing.
thought?
Oh, and
What-
sulfur on our vacation in Iceland. Of course,
I
that's
know, isn't it crazy?
very
And
volcanic.
ozone. A couple of you have said something about ozone.
I can smell ozone.
I thought that was when you were traveling, like from this realm to another realm. Hi, Risa. She can
Oh.
smell a storm
Yeah.
before it comes.
Yeah.
Evolutionary biology. Wow.
Wow. Really, really interesting.
Oh, interesting.
The grass element that releases the rain smell. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Wow.
You guys are brilliant.
So smart out there.
I know. Very cool. Well, I really hope that as we're chatting here and hearing about everybody's smells that they've been smelling and all this scientific information, I hope we're all learning something about this particular spiritual power.
Can you do a show on the other Claires too? I think that would be a great
Me?
idea.
Good series.
Yeah.
Look
Or
what
we
you got yourself into.
Split it up. It would have you for the next.
Oh my goodness.
Be covered. Look how
That's
red you turned.
It's very exciting, and our vibration rises. I was on with Ginny B earlier, and I said our vibration's gonna rise, and they're like, "Are you gonna levitate?" I'm like, "No, but we're gonna feel like we are." Our vibration rises, and it's fun talking about this stuff. And so many of you have so many experiences that it's really, really important to,
It's really true that it coming together like this lets us see all the little different aspects because it's not the same for everybody. You know, smelling to see, that's amazing. You know?
It really is.
You know, from time to time when I lead those healings, I always try to build in as people are kind of coming together. I often try to get them to build in that they're going to use their own senses. Just because I say I see doesn't mean that's the way they're going to experience it. So it's really important to validate how that your clairs come through. And of course, it teaches all of us when we learn how it works for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it does. Well, ladies, what else are you doing this coming week? Anything exciting? And by the way, happy Labor Day to everybody. I hope you're enjoying the holiday off. And who's next? Terri. Oh, Terri Lee's next. She's next month.
Oh.
Let me see if I have the list here. I wonder what she's going to be doing it on.
I just have to read this. It says, so a sulfur smell is based on the idea that certain sulfur-containing gases are associated with the presence of life or the lack thereof on other planets. For example, a compound like dimethyl sulfate, which is a sea-like smell on Earth, could be an indicator of an extraterrestrial life, while high concentrations of sulfur dioxide may suggest the planet is inhospitable. Additionally, some early reports of alien encounters describe a sulfurous odor, further linking the two concepts in popular science and culture. That's where I heard it.
Right.
And it is when you have an ET experience or something like that, a smell of sulfur. And this is, I'm telling you, I thought of that right away, way back here, and I thought it was spirit. Donna. It was Donna. Where's Donna's original?
Right.
And that was the first thing I thought of, because you said in the middle of the night, Donna, and I think it was ET's. She said, I used to smell sulfur in the middle of the night as a child. That was ET's.
Cool.
Interesting.
Because right away I thought it was, you know, I'd always heard that sulfur was associated with the devil because I grew up Catholic or whatever. I'd much rather have ETs.
Yeah.
Yes, much rather.
They're real.
But it's interesting. I don't remember ever smelling sulfur when communicating with ETs.
Well, I think it's when they come through the portal when you get a visitation.
I guess so. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Kind of like car exhaust or something when you're traveling. Interesting. This has been fascinating. Thank you.
Fascinating. Thank you so much, Terri.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting us to choose something.
Oh, I love it. Well, okay, so next month is going to be Terri Lee, and I have written down pleasure. I have no idea where we're going with it.
And I have talked with her recently, and she said she is very excited to present that. She's working hard on it.
That's
fabulous.
Fantastic. Well, last I heard, she was riding a mule somewhere today, so I can't wait to hear that story.
I hope she's experiencing pleasure on her mule ride.
I hope so.
I do. Everybody, thanks for being here today. It was a great show. Ladies, you just astound me every month. I'm just always so impressed with what you all come up with. It's just, I really enjoy the Wisdom Circle. So thank you all for being here and being part of it. And chat, thank you all for being here and part of our monthly meeting. We just love the information that you guys come up with. Just incredible. So many smart people out there, so well educated. Just incredible. And thank you guys for being here. We all adore you, love you, and thank you for being you. I guess I'll say goodbye till next time. Next month, Terri Lee, and we'll have another fun night. So till next time, you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.